I expect that we would win against Rutgers. It was a bit nerve-wracking at first because of how they, first came out as far as the defense goes, because
Yep.
I feel like this defense has taken a step back. I did like what I saw during the second half with the defense, though. I mean, they finally got their first interception of the year. Thank God. Or takeaway, they finally
Yep.
got one. So we were all waiting for that. And then, of course, I am a huge Mark Gronowski fan. I think he has so much talent and potential. I'm really impressed by him. And again, well, I wasn't at first. Like, I always thought he would do well, but now I'm a fan after seeing what he did tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he got 3 touchdowns himself, and he would not give up. When he was running, he just, would not go down easily, which I love. And that's something that we sorely need in our game.
True. Okay.
We haven't had a mobile quarterback in quite some time. I mean, Brendan Sullivan last year was pretty mobile, but not like this. And then also the other thing I wanted to say too, I don't know if people are aware, you're probably aware because you keep up with the Big Ten quite a bit, but we're down a lot of our best players right now. We're actually down our best tight end. And obviously that's a big deal to us. We had our best running back tonight. Thank goodness, Moulton, number 28, who scored and had a lot of good runs for us. So he's back, and I'm glad to see that. Jazz Patterson was a little nicked up during the game, and he didn't return. So hopefully he'll be okay, because we're going to need him next weekend, I think, because he just runs with a different motor. I really like what I see out of him as well. But as far as, just in general, it's really good that we have an offense. And I know when you were reviewing the stats earlier that they don't jump off the page, but I think what a lot of people, and this too, but I think that what some people forget is that Iowa doesn't need to be game beaters on offense necessarily. With the defense and special teams efforts they have, it's enough. Like what they did tonight is enough, probably.
Yeah, that is a good point, and certainly I've stated that many times in the past. I'm not ranking or evaluating Iowa's offense against what most teams need. Yeah, they have a functional offense right now. They have a functional. If they go through the Big Ten schedule with what they showed tonight on offense, I don't think that they can necessarily win all their games. I think it's going to be mighty difficult to beat teams like Penn State and Oregon, but they should win most of the games, and they should continue to be what they've been in the past, because the schedule's tougher and the defense may not be quite as dominant as it's been over the last 5 or 6 years. So to have an offense that can actually generate points and yards is nice.
And also, in the past when we've done well, our defense has done a lot of the scoring with, pick sixes and stuff like that. That's not going to be the case with this year, I don't think, given that the defense has taken a step back, which, by the way, when we say an Iowa defense has taken a step back, they're still damn good. A lot of teams would like to have our defense. We're not as good as we've been in past years, but we're still pretty darn good. So I think a lot of people forget that too. It's not like we're saying the defense sucks, because as long as Phil Parker is there, they will not suck.
Oh, no question. It's a really good defense. And Phil Parker showed that he can make adjustments, and they obviously tightened things up after giving up 3 touchdowns right out of the gate.
Yeah, that was upsetting that we gave 3 touchdowns. Yeah, that was I was really upset about that. But our offense is stepping up at the right time, and they've looked better each week, actually, and that also gives me some hope. I'm not saying we're going to go, win all the rest of the games. I don't think that's true. But I think it is worth noting that our toughest games take place at Kinnick. And we know how that can influence teams sometimes.
Yeah, and that was a topic of a discussion between Corey and myself a few times during the off season, because if you're just looking to have another 8-4 season, let's say, then you almost would rather play Penn State and Oregon on the road and almost give in those games and give up on those games as losses, and then play teams that are more on your level or maybe slightly below at home, and ensure that those are wins. However, if you're going for the gusto, the schedule actually sets up the way you would want it to. And
Right.
that's that you get the toughest teams at home. And sure, Iowa's still going to be an underdog in those games, but they obviously have a history of pulling off major upsets at home.
See, for me, I need to see that this year. I need to see that we can beat Penn State, that we can beat Oregon, that we can beat, a good Indiana team or a great Indiana team. I think that's what would put us at the next level. Now that our offense is starting to get a little bit better, I would really like to see a win, at least one of those three teams.
Yeah, if they win one out of those three, then that's going to be two more losses. They've already lost one, so that takes them down to 9-3. And going out to USC is not going to be the easiest task. That's going to be difficult.
True. I haven't watched USC this year at all, I'll admit, but I've heard that their defense still has issues. Is that true?
Well, they've only really played one team. They played two complete walkovers the first two games of the season. Then they played Purdue, and they gave up some yardage. They didn't give up many points. They won 33-16, so they, handled Purdue, but it wasn't a blowout by any stretch. Purdue actually shot themselves in the foot a lot. Let's see. USC's got Michigan State coming up. They're going to have enough games under their belt at the point that they play Iowa that we're going to know a lot more about USC. I think that's going to be a fascinating game because they're two very different type teams, but they're on the same level.
Right. I mean, I think that's definitely going to be a tough game against USC since it's in their stadium. We typically don't do well out west, so that is a bit of a scary game. But also, by then the offense, if it keeps improving a little bit every week like it has been, maybe we stand a chance this time. I don't know. What I would like to see is that we just, we at least keep up with them. Obviously, I want to win, but if that's not possible, I just want to make sure we don't get blown out.
Well, what's
Like,
going
I
to
don't want
make
to get
you happy
embarrassed.
this season? What is going to satisfy you this season?
Well, let me pull up their schedule again. I haven't memorized it. Let me see. Or do you want to pull it up? Or
Yeah, I'll get
that
it
way
here.
we can go through it together, maybe. See what we think. Iowa's not a playoff threat. No one said they were. Kai's World of Sports. No one said they were, but weirder things have happened.
Well, it had to hurt you to lose this game against Iowa State because
Oh, don't get me going. Don't get me going on
had
that.
they won that, that's a second consecutive year that they obviously just had a gut wrenching loss there.
I feel
Had they
like
won that game, they'd be sitting at 4-0 right now, and we would be talking about a possible path to the playoffs.
I feel like Kirk's usual conservatism in that game, that was a big part of the loss, which I hated. Um, there were a few, there was one at least, I think there might have been more than one, fourth down opportunities where he should have maybe tried for it and he didn't in his usual manner, which obviously is disappointing, but what are you going to do? I mean, he is who he is, right? He's not going to change after 26 years or in his 27th year. All right, so we've got Indiana next week.
So we'll go game by game, Erica, and you tell me how good you feel about each one of these games, and then I'll let you know what I think.
Okay, so Indiana, I think we stand a chance, but I think it'll definitely be a challenge. Obviously, it's going to be sold out, so that will help us. But I mean, I'm not going to call scores. I'm not. I'm not smart enough to do that. But I think Indiana might win. I'm not sure. I think they probably will win.
Yeah.
I am going to watch the game tomorrow though to see to get a better idea. And I also haven't watched Illinois in a minute either, so it'll be interesting to watch that game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tremendous game. And you probably heard me say if I could only watch one game tomorrow, I think I would watch that game, even though there are higher profile games out there. But we're going to know a lot more about Indiana this time tomorrow night than we do now because Illinois is a quality team. They're not a great team, but they're a quality team. They're probably one of the 15 best teams in the country, one of the 15 to 20 best teams in the country. So that being at home, I would give a slight edge to Iowa, like a 55-45 percentage margin on that game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. I would like to see Iowa win, but I'm realistic that they might lose. You know, I'm not saying it's a definite either way. Wisconsin. I'm sorry, did you have something else to say about Indiana?
Well, yeah, I was just going to mention this next trip to Wisconsin. So they better win that game.
Oh, man. Wisconsin is an embarrassment. I'm sorry. Like, I think Fickle's going to be, I think he's already on a hot seat. I think his seat is going to be burning fire if he's not fired by the end of the season. I think he's really in trouble.
Yep. I would agree.
So I think that's a win. And considering that, I would almost argue our team is better this year than last year, and we already like dominated them last year. I think it's going to be a very similar game again, even though it's going to be at their house this time.
Okay. I'll
Penn
generally
State.
agree with that.
Yeah, so you agree. Okay, so far it sounds like we're probably in agreement for the most part. Penn State, that's at home again. I feel like, man, I don't know. I know that Penn State, if I'm remembering correctly, hasn't played anybody yet, right? Who are they playing? Are they playing anyone tomorrow? Who are they playing?
They're off tomorrow. They play Oregon next week.
Ah, okay. So they have okay. So they're playing Oregon right before us. Well, I think that this is going to sound weird, maybe, depending how they do against Oregon. Like, that might sway the game that we have with them. Because if they win, they might be on a huge high. But
Well,
then
that's quite a ways before that game. So we're talking
true.
Penn State and Oregon playing September 27th.
See, October. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of time between now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another 3 weeks.
I would like to say that we pull off the upset. I don't think it's going to be like we're going to kill them and well, I don't know. They might have the advantage. We're going to be underdogs, but I think we'll pull off a shock win.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is because if Spencer Petrash beat Penn State, and we have a better quarterback now, without a doubt. Okay, like there's no comparison between Mark and Spencer. I think we could pull it off, but I think it'll be a very similar game, and that we'll only win by like a field goal or something. It'll be by the skin of our teeth.
Okay, then Minnesota comes in.
Minnesota, I mean, you know how I feel about PJ Fleck. I know you love PJ Fleck, but
My guy PJ, yes.
I'm sorry, but no. I think, let's see, that's in Kinnick again, so I think we will beat them, and I think we will go in as the predicted winners too. I don't think we'll be underdogs with Minnesota, especially given that one defensive player of theirs. What's his name?
Boy Parrish.
Yeah, I saw he didn't do so great. Was it last week where he muffed a punt, and I can't remember what else, but I know he made quite a few mistakes. And I know he's one of their leading players, so that's not promising for them. But it's Minnesota. It's in Kinnick. We should win.
Okay. Then
Oregon
a bye
Ducks
week before Oregon.
I don't think we're going to win against the Ducks. I just want to, again, it's very similar in that I just want to see that we can keep up with them. That's not a total domination. I don't see us winning that game.
Okay.
I don't know if you agree with those opinions.
You're really confident that you're going to win the rest of these games before Oregon.
I think if I had to say if I had to choose, I'd probably say yes.
Okay. So
like I said, but like I explained, though, I'm not 100% confident in a few of them.
So Oregon's going to be a second loss, and then at USC.
I don't think we're going to pull that off. I think, again, I want to see that we're competitive. Obviously, I'd prefer to win. That would be the number one choice. But I don't know. I also need to watch more USC before I judge. But going out west for Kirk seems to be a challenge.
And then the last two, Michigan State, who obviously beat Iowa last year on the road, but at Kinnick, and then going to Nebraska.
I think we win both of those last two games. Michigan State, you better believe that's circled on their calendar after last year. Believe me, Phil will have the guys in shape for that game after what happened last year. with the defense, how they plowed through our defense last year. I think we win, especially since it's in Kinnick. And then as for Nebraska, I think we win that too.
Okay, Erica, you've got 9-3,
which is a typical
oh,
Iowa record.
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I will say this: that if this team goes 9-3, and that includes a win against Penn State, USC, Nebraska. Let's say Penn State has the kind of season they're supposed to have, 11-1, 10-2. And let's say USC has a strong season. Like, I'm trying to get you to the playoff, and the key would be the keys would be if the scenario that you just played out comes true, you need Penn State to be one of the top 5 or 10 teams in the country. You need USC to have a really strong season, because even though you lose that game, let's say you only lose by a score at USC and they're a 9-3 team, they're a top 15 team, and Nebraska, who I don't think until further notice is really that good, but they're going to have a good record. So that'll look good, beating like an 8-4, 9-3 Nebraska team. And then as long as the other key, as long as you don't get blown out against Oregon, if you get blown out, if that's a 42-14 game, then that might squash the playoff committee into choosing against Iowa. But if you're able to hang against what's most likely a playoff team, then a 9-3 team in the Big Ten that beats Penn State, USC, and Nebraska and doesn't get blown out against Oregon will be, closely scrutinized and looked at.
I mean, I don't realistically think we're going to make the playoffs, as much as I would love to say differently. I think that the Iowa State loss really cemented that we probably won't.
Yeah.
9-3 would be a very good year. For Iowa, that's not a good year. That's like normal year. For us, a good year is 10 wins. That would be a very good year.
All right, Erica.
I did
Anything
see
else?
one comment from Luke
Yeah.
Benden. Iowa would beat Penn State if they only had the Japanese kicker from Hawaii. I don't know who this Japanese kicker from Hawaii is, but we have a darn good kicker on our team. And we also have probably the best, not probably, definitely the best return specialist in the country. So, yeah, that comment is, I'm going to call that out as BS too.
Okay. I do know that Hawaii has one of the best kickers in the country.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Let's see. I struggle to hold down. Yeah, I mean, it's funny looking at the chat and everyone's opinions. I think that a lot of people, and understandably so, since our offense has been trash until now, have this idea about Iowa. But I think that there's going to be some surprised people as far as the offense goes. I think that it's going to be more of a balanced team, and that the defense and offense will be closer and level, because our defense just is not top 5 like it's been, or top 10 like it's been in the past few years or several years. Before today, we were top 3 in total defense. We were number 3 in the country. I don't know if that's still going to hold true, because our defense, they did really well the second half, but the first half wasn't great. So we'll have to see where that lands after everyone else plays. But I think that the offensive reputation after this year will be diminished. I think that it's going to be improved. You know what I mean? I don't think we will be deserving of that reputation as much anymore if it continues the way it is.
Yeah, that wasn't overall a great performance tonight, but again, they did improve throughout the game and got the stops when they needed to and made the big play at the end. But if you just took Iowa's defensive performance after the third drive, if you took out the first 3 drives, which of course we can't, but it shows that they adjusted, that they made schematic adjustments, they played harder, I said exactly the way I see this game and the way I saw it coming into the game. I thought it would be a close game, very entertaining game, competitive game, all that. But basically, these teams did what you expect them to do.
Right.
What they did in the first almost half of play is not what we expected, for it to be a scoring fest and 42 points on the board, but they reverted to norm. It became a defensive game, and Iowa made the plays when they needed to on special teams, a blocked punt, the sack or not the sack, but the quarterback hurry by Ethan Herkett that forced or Max Llewellyn that forced the interception. They made the plays that Iowa always makes against everybody but the best teams in the Big Ten to win those games. And Rutgers failed to do so. And so it was a good game. It was a close game, but Iowa made the plays when they had to and won the game.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. Dependent Fanatic says that I have to remember that teams improve throughout the year, even after a tough road loss. I have to believe that as a Michigan fan. Our quarterbacks are better by a mile. Yeah, and it's true. I would say that it's true for Iowa too. Like, if you look at Kirk's teams over the years, they do get better usually as the season goes on. So, yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, who knows? Maybe at USC, I think we do stand a chance of winning, but I don't think ultimately, as things stand right now, that we'd pull it out. But my opinion might change after we see more football.
All right. Very good. Well, I picked this team to go 8-4, so I've seen nothing that has changed my opinion of who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's fair. I'm overjoyed about the fact that we have an offense for once and that they're actually able to throw the ball. Although, one thing that will be interesting to see, like, I know that Rutgers defense isn't that great, which kind of surprises me for a Rutgers team, because usually I thought their defense was better.
Yep.
So that maybe had to do with it, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. It could be both things as well, that Iowa has improved and that Rutgers defense is garbage. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the much different aspect of Rutgers football this year is that they found a quarterback. So he's been there for a season. Obviously, you're probably aware he was the Minnesota quarterback for 2 years, and then he went to Rutgers last year. So he's the best quarterback they've had in over a decade. Like, you could see it tonight. He's a really good quarterback. So they got themselves some receivers, and those guys stuck around from last year. They pretty much have the same receiving core as they had last year. So they've suddenly become this passing team, and they're much different than the Rutgers teams of the past. But yes, their defense did get shredded against Ohio University. Now the next 2 weeks they played, FCS teams. So you can't really put any stock in that. But they gave up a lot of points and yardage to Ohio University. And then tonight, to be fair, the comment I made about Iowa's offense is, that it's more balanced and it's functional, but those numbers are not going to blow anyone away. But Iowa does play differently than other teams play. So, if I was going to churn out 350 yards of offense every week and it's going to be balanced and they're not going to turn the ball over, that's another big key, then they'll be just fine.
Right. It's good enough for an Iowa team that, although our defense by Iowa standards has taken a step back by, I guess, and this makes me sound like I'm being extremely homerish, which I try to stay away from. But the facts are the defense has taken a step back this year relative to Iowa defenses, but they're still a good to very good defense in general. Mm-hmm. So if they're a very good defense in general, being average or slightly below average even on offense, as long as we don't turn the ball over, as long as our special teams performs, as long as the offense continues how they played tonight or better, hopefully better, that's good enough. We'll win games that way. I'm not saying we'll beat necessarily, we wouldn't beat Ohio State if we were playing them. Like, we might not beat Penn State, like I think. I don't think we're going to beat Oregon. But for the other teams, I like our chances for most of them.